Hey Mama, welcome to the podcast. My name is Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5, and I am looking forward to talking with you a little bit about postpartum in the second week. You are probably so excited, so thrilled to be done with pregnancy and to have that little one here. And now that little one is here, you're facing all sorts of new kinds of hard. And that's okay. That is what these babies bring. And today we are going to talk about it to give you tips to help with healing with baby and with all those mental and emotional things, tips to help there to help you get along through this tough fourth trimester with a more positivity in your life. Let's jump in. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5 and host of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find the positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Let's find positivity during our pregnancies and in our motherhood together. Thanks for joining. Okay, Mama, we are going to begin this week by talking about baby. Hopefully you have figured out a little bit of help with nursing or bottle care and that things are going good there. We will talk a little bit about that a little farther down, but before I get to that, I wanted to talk about sleep and helping babies to sleep. Swaddling can help them to sleep. Swaddling is basically wrapping your baby fairly tight in a blanket. This can help them because babies have a startle reflex. They can startle themselves awake. And if they're tightly wrapped, they can't really move as easy to startle themselves awake. So it does help them sleep. I have swaddled all of my babies up to, probably 4 to 6 months. I usually swaddle them, and I like it, and it seems to help. I have found success with that. So that's one thing you can do to help them to sleep better. It also recreates the cramped feeling of the womb, so they might like to be tight in there as well. Don't make it too tight, obviously. Maybe I have watched good YouTube videos about swaddling. There's so many resources out there that teaches ways to swaddle. I actually learned from some nurses in the hospital as well, or ask a fellow family member how they swaddled their baby. Lots of options. The next thing that can help is a noisemaker. And yes, I agree on this. Yes, I use one. Yes, I have used one. I don't even know the brand of mine. I'll see if I can find the brand, but I've had the same one for probably since my second baby. My second baby is when I started using one. And I just got one that plugs in the wall, and we use the ocean sound every time they go to nap or for bed. I think this is nice for a lot of reasons. It kind of is a tradition. I don't know if tradition is the right word, but it's it helps the baby. It helps cue the baby that they're going to bed when they go into the room or hear the noisemaker. It's kind of a cue of, it's nap time or bedtime. Now, as a newborn, they're not going to recognize it as that, but as you keep using that, it will become a cue for sleep. So I like the noisemaker. The other reason is it just helps them to have that background noise, especially if you have other kids in a noisy house, or it just allows more noise to be made and allows the baby to sleep. So I do recommend that. I'll see if I can find mine and link it in the show notes, the one that I have. Blackout curtains. In the womb, it is dark, and sometimes babies sleep better with blackout curtains. And yes, I do use these as well. In fact, I never used blackout curtains until probably, again, my second baby. And I didn't realize how nice and effective they were, especially for those summer nights when it doesn't get dark till really late. At least in the Northern Hemisphere, that's how it is. And Like, kids need to go to bed way before that. And having the blackout curtains made their room dark and was so nice. So nice that I even bought myself some blackout curtains. So that's another tip to help them. When they're really little, it's not super recommended to have your baby sleep in swings, but there are times when they need movement, but you can't hold them all the time. And you just need to put them down while you do something, or even while you get rest yourself. And a baby swing can be good for that. I don't recommend sleeping while they're in the swing unless like you've got someone else there. But I'm pretty sure I probably have done that before, just slept on the couch close to them so I could hear, and of course they were buckled in. Just take all the precautions to be safe, of course, but those are all things that can help baby get more sleep. Something that baby could be doing is if there's like a rub on their cheek or something, they might like turn their head like trying to eat whatever just rubbed their cheek. That is called rooting, and it is an infant reflex that helps them find the nipple for breastfeeding. Pretty cool, and I still find it so amazing that babies know how to suck, and like where they want to go to get the food is really cool. Okay, now we're going to go back to feeding. I mentioned that at the beginning of the episode, and we are going to go back to it. So some babies get to points where they like to cluster feed. And this can be very hard and annoying and a little frustrating. But it also can be good. So depending on when they want to cluster feed, and a definition of cluster feed is they basically just want to eat really often, way more than the 2 to 4 hours that they should be at this time in their lives, and it can be hard. Oftentimes, cluster feeding will occur in the evening, so they'll want to eat more often, and this can be hard because you have a lot going on in the evening. You have dinner, you have maybe husband getting home from work, kids getting home from school, and it can be hard to have to feed the baby so often. But sometimes this actually helps calm them down, and it can help them to sleep a little bit of a longer stretch because they add more to their belly over a short amount of time. So do know that can happen. It is good to try and get them on rhythms and routines. In fact, I have a whole episode on that I will link in the show notes. But it also is good to cluster feed a little bit in hopes that they might sleep a little bit. Now, I also want you to watch your thoughts here, because if your thought is, oh, if I cluster feed, they'll sleep better, and then they don't sleep better, you're going to be disappointed. There have been many times where I have been very disappointed that I cluster fed and they still did not sleep. Babies are just tough, and especially if they get colicky, it can be really tough in the evening. That's where it's nice to trade off with your husband a little bit, take turns, and help each other out. So a rhythm and routine that I have used for my babies that helps, and I usually don't really try super hard to implement this until a couple weeks, but it is eat, wake, sleep. So you want to feed them, and then you want to keep them awake, and then after their feeding and awake time, that's when they go to sleep. And then when they wake up, the cycle starts again. I did a whole episode on this after my my fifth baby, and kind of described how that works, why I do that, and how it helps me to know what my baby wants. This whole newborn thing is hard, Mama. It is really hard, but you can do hard. You went through 9 months of your body changing all the time, going through crazy aches and pains, crazy sicknesses to bring this little one here, and it was hard. And this time is hard too, but you can do hard things. I believe in you, and God believes in you in these endeavors. Keep trying and give yourself grace, just like I talked about last week. So I'm not ending the episode there. I actually have quite a bit to talk about with you. We just got done talking about baby. Now we are going to talk about you and those baby blues. I kind of mentioned the hormonal swings, the needing to cry, and all of that, feeling out of control and overwhelmed last week. I didn't call it the baby blues though, but they are commonly known as the baby blues. For some reason, actually I have reasons that I'm going to tell you, but after women have babies, they tend to get feelings of sadness, or as I mentioned, the overwhelm, the need to cry, mood swings, feeling trapped, scared, anxiety, panic, maybe you even have trouble focusing, paranoid, lonely. All of those negative emotions can be ones that you feel after having baby. Now, these are the causes of some of those baby blues. Hormones. Your hormones are still going crazy, trying to equalize, come back to like an equilibrium, if I can say that right, after having a baby. Brain changes. There was actually some fascinating stuff I read about brain changes. So I got this from the Mama Natural website. I will link it below, but I'm going to read what it says about brain changes. According to researchers, having a baby is one of the most significant biological events you can have in your life, and that affects the brain in profound ways. In fact, after childbirth, the volume of gray matter in a mother's brain changes so dramatically in regions involved in social processes that researchers can easily identify women who've been pregnant from those who haven't. And so your brain is changing, and it can cause all sorts of like these dips and these highs and these lows. Lack of sleep is another one. While babies are getting around 18 or more hours of sleep a day, they still wake up every 2 to 4 hours. And another thing researchers suggest is like 7 to 9 hours of sleep for adults. And so that pattern being disrupted can also be trying. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I talk a lot about that and dealing with the sleep, because that's a real thing and it is hard. And I struggled with it too. So go back to that episode to hear about dealing with lack of sleep as a new mom. And then your changes in your home routine can also cause effect of these baby blues and maybe even nutritional depletion. So now that we know all the reasons and all the annoying negative symptoms that can come from having the baby blues or being in postpartum, let's talk about what we can do to help them. Vitamin B12 is actually something that can help, and I actually did not take vitamin B12 after my babies. Vitamin D, though, I did do that one. Get some sunshine. Go out in the light. Go out where there is sun. That vitamin D can help. If it is winter where you live right now, still do your best to go out into some sunlight, or you can even use light therapy. Another one that can help is gentle exercise. So they say it's not smart to do heavy exercises postpartum, and I don't know why you'd want to, because your body is just sore everywhere. Your breasts, your downstairs area, you just feel not really up to being super active, or at least I did. But nonetheless, gentle walking or some small gentle exercises can help boost your mood. Even maybe like a few bicep curls. Just something that's not going to be too strenuous or fatigue you too much, but will release some of those endorphins that exercising can induce. Now I want to talk to you about something that was really hard for me. We all go into motherhood with our own expectations, or what we feel we are going to do and how we are going to be a mother and the things that we are going to do. I went into motherhood wanting to be very independent. It was kind of a pride thing to do it on my own, by myself, and without help. Unfortunately, it took me like 3 babies to learn that it is okay to ask for help, and it is not bad to ask for help, and it does not mean that you are weak or a bad mother if you are asking for help. I had associated that I was a weak mother, or I was a bad mother, or I was incapable mother if I had to ask for help. And that is not true. You are none of those things if you have to ask for help. We all need help, and I can tell you that as I got better with the pregnancies at asking for help after, well, not with the pregnancies, but with postpartum, at asking for help, I did better. My mind did better. My body did better, and I just felt better. So overcome your pride a little bit, let down that wall, and ask for some help. You are not weak if you have to ask for help. Sometimes it just needs to start with good communication with your husband. Ask him for some help. I struggled with this because my husband is a hard worker, and I felt bad that when he would get home from work, I would need help. Like, I legitimately needed his help. We have finally gotten a lot better at communicating over the years, which is good. And these beautiful children will allow you to do that, which is amazing, but also hard. But we found that he would watch the baby while I went to bed a little earlier so that I could get a little bit more sleep before the baby was needing the next feeding. And sometimes in the evening, I would actually go to bed earlier, have a pumped bottle or a bottle for him to give the baby so that I could rest through that feeding. And then when the baby would wake up for the next feeding in the night after he had been with dad, or he or she had been with dad, I would take the baby. But that gave me a little more extra sleep and some help. Now, sometimes your husband might not be there. He might not be in the home because he works abroad or military, whatever it might be. So ask those around you for help. Friends, family, neighbors, church members. Women love to hold and help with new babies, or at least most women do. And there's also options of postpartum doulas or mama's helpers or stuff like that. There are a lot of options to help you, mama. And I want you to be helped because it will actually help your brain and you mentally to get some help. Because sometimes when it feels like it's all on you, it's very heavy and can become very irritating and irritable, and it just weighs on you and you don't feel like yourself. As you allow people to step in and as you allow them to help, maybe it's even cleaning your house, you can hire a cleaner to help out for a little bit, you will feel relief and you will be able to feel more positive emotion. So that is my main encouragement today, is to allow yourself to get help. Do some of the other things like vitamin D, gentle exercises, light therapy, and continue to give yourself grace. I know I mentioned that last week, but this time, it's got to be intentional or you're going to really struggle. Heal it to feel it, give yourself grace, and breathe. Another tip that just came to mind is turn on some music that makes you happy. I didn't realize how powerful this was until I had done it postpartum, and it just lightened my mood so much to listen to some good music that had good memories. I just felt better. So try some of these tips this week. Allow people to help you, ask people to help you, and see how it goes. We will chat again next week, but know in the meantime that God is out there, your angels are out there helping you, looking out for you, and there are also physical angels that can help you and look out for you in the form of your family, friends, or postpartum doulas. So get that help. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts and becoming the mother that you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. Thanks for joining. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward in your motherhood. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.